We've already seen the idea of callbacks, and the definition was a function passed to some other function, which we assume will be invoked at some point. So the function that we're calling calls back, invoking the function we give it. But let's take a quick look at how we do that in JavaScript. So I'll create a function greet, and it will simply console.log hello. But instead, my function will take a callback. I could name this whatever I wanted. I'll name it callback to be clear. And the callback will be a function itself. Remember, functions in JavaScript are first class, so I can pass them around, set them to variables, etc. So I'll expect that callback will be a function. So when I'm done doing my work in this greet function, I'll invoke the callback function. So when greet is invoked, I'll just use a function expression. I can give it a function, and so it will invoke that function when it's done. So I can say console.log the callback was invoked. Now I can go to my command line interface, run this, and there. My function was invoked, and then it invoked the callback, the function that I gave it. And so I could actually invoke greet again with a different callback, a different function, and that will be invoked the second time I invoke greet. It will invoke that function instead, because that's the parameter that I give it. There it is, the first time, and then the second time. And I could even say, well, my callback will always take some parameter. For example, let's say I had some data that I went and got in this greet function. And let's just say it's an object that holds a name. And then I'll pass it always to the callback. So I know that this greet function gives a parameter to whatever callback I give it. So now I can grab it just by accepting that parameter, because that's what will be invoked. And so I could do something in my callback with the parameter that the function gives to me. So let's just say here we'll do data.name, just to be different. So I'll run this, clear this, and run it. And there it is. The first time I get the full object, and the second time I get the .name property, because I passed two different callbacks, and it simply invoked that function passing a parameter. And when I defined my function, I just specified that, yes, give me that parameter, and then I can do something with it. So there's lots of things you can do with the callback pattern. You could, for example, have a function that goes out and gets data from the database, but then you might call that function different ways at different times and want to do different things with that data. So you could just give it a callback, have it give you the data, and then do what you want to with the data. And there's plenty of other things you might do with this idea. So when we see ourselves passing a function to a function in this pattern, it's a callback. The function I invoke will invoke later the function that I give it. Make sense? All right, let's move on.